you already know, say you did Hunukane. I hear some people they pronounce them Hunukane, it's Hunukane. And then like,
yes,
if they say I'm in fancy, they say Hunukane. It was I say, but if it's Gan, it's sunlight Hunukane, like Kanye and John Hunue. So like you get this double meaning if you want to look at them. So you're officially live on Hunukane, and this is a different type of
I
conversation.
especially like the name, man. That'd be what's really draw me to you guys, man.
Yeah.
Hold on, is this sunlight? Yeah, I see. Yeah.
On a different type of conversation, you get like two artists in the same space or different spaces like we did right now, and then basically discuss something. But this one, I'd feel say, is going to be mainly about you and Bonzie, because that is basically the main reason why we start this conversation. So I feel like if I jump straight into your growth in music, comparing you then and you now, like through the stages from how you end up for here, like how you end up for Bonzie. Because I remember, if you don't know the track, the way they did, like that.
Yeah.
You see that kind of hip hop. Then how it is now, like that transition. We grew up on you. You see that in some. For real. Like I remember the me and my boss, they listened that track with VIP, and my boss was in the class like Charlie Mensa was way ahead of his time. And it still was happening now, because if that time the kind of music you did was different, you get it. And now it's like now where people won't do that kind of music. We just have to go forward. Like you always they run ahead. Like you they do the music for Ghanaians or you do them as a Ghanaian. You buy where they come from.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of ahead of his time kind of thing. You do it right now. If I hear that, it makes sad. You see what I mean? It really be upsetting. And I feel like it's just people not paying attention. You see what I mean? Because let's say somebody like Einstein or Martin Luther King or somebody where they talk something, then you could die. Then later we could realize, say, oh man, this guy was, what he's saying is what is happening now. He's always, so for me, it's like, it's just because people are not paying attention. You have to be in the times to be able to do what you're doing. And for me, I was just very present. For me, actually, it's about being present, you know, being aware and conscious. So, like, to ask, like, what Mensa was doing back then and what I'm doing now, like, what, you know, I'm here because of the way I started. You see what I mean? I don't think my ethos towards being a creative has changed at all. That'd be really how everything I do creatively be about. It's just about just learning and trying things out and learning and trying things out and learning. So if you listen and like if you don't know, which really like I conceptualized the whole thing, that track, the track with VIP from what would be like 98 or something like that, 99. Like I conceptualized the thing, but then I don't know how to use the equipment efficiently or proficiently. You see what I mean? So me then Dave Bolton really like understood where I was trying to go with it and was able to capture that, you see what I mean, that idea and just take it where it needed to go. And that's been pretty much it. Like by that time, then me, I'll be apprentice for DKB Studios. You know, really, I was just an apprentice, and Obrafo, Lord Kenya, Tic Tac, everybody was coming into the studio. And those guys were already like out there. You see what I mean? And I was just like sitting in the studio. I was just there just watching. I knew that, okay, I like what these guys are doing. I also want to be kind of creating something and designing something so that one day maybe I can also present something different, you know. But I just, for me, I was just like, just learning, you know, and that's really what it is like up until now. I'm still trying to figure things out. It's just like a puzzle, you know. So this Bonzie album was really after like a few years of just observing and like, okay, cool. I want to try something completely different from everything that I've been doing. I want to work with a certain type of musician, I want to create a certain type of mix, certain type of production to create my own, the sound that I was using for Number One Mango Street a little bit further, because it's been 10 years. I can't come back and do the same thing again, you know? So like where
10
do I
years,
go?
sorry.
You know what I mean? What's the next thing? And that's really what it is. It's just a curiosity and just having a real passion for trying things out.
I listened to the whole Bonzie tape and I was like, man, Mensa grow, Charlie. And you can really, yeah, you see, like you can really, because back then Charlie Mensa would try slang you small. Right now, Mensa is like you just feel the identity for inside. You see, me say Charlie that I don't speak Pidgen like that. It's like
Yeah,
you go
man.
try. You
Like,
see, you go try and press, but as they grow, you they get more comfortable. You know, with yourself,
you know,
as with who you are, and then you give that to the people.
if I tell you, say, like, I mean, you go fit talk, say I'd be primarily like a rap artist or whatever. But if I'm being honest with you, the inspiration, the things that I tap into are the most unrappity rap things. Like, because I started out as somebody who my mom wanted to play piano at church. So I was playing piano at church and I was playing hymnals. Like I was just playing hymnals for a choir to sing in my early years, like between 11 and like 14. Where then my best friend and father, the late Dr. Nico Kote, into is he say I get some potential, so they try make I learn classical music. So the classical piano way man they play, but my brothers also, because then that time they reached them at teenage years, they be young, then rap music in the 90s, that be the way, you see what I mean? So I just they follow, then I just they listen. So I just like absorbing, you see what I mean? And now what I'm actually tapping more into is the other things, because that's what rap music really is. Rap music just they take elements and resources from around where we they beef them up and give them, they make them cool. You see what I mean? If you look at the origins of how rap music is or hip hop music is made, and that's really what I'm doing. So like the thing they talk in terms of identity, for me to even be more authentic, I they tap into the obscure things, the things where it not be about rap, the things where be about just thinking about washing plates as a kiddie where the stand chair top where I they complain, and those kind of memories, or running around my paddies, or those kind, and the language, thinking in my thinking like how my mother would speak or how my aunties would speak, to really tap into an energy source. You see what I mean? And those are the things, man. And that's when it comes out. That's why like Pidgen is become so like refreshing, because it's so original to us, it's so unique to us. You see what I mean?
Yep.
And some of the vocals I do, like if you listen to the end of like Carry You Go, where I go like, don't ask a lot of questions, we still need answers. That's just me like thinking about like incantations at church, like Anglican church kind of things, where they think about, okay, what if some African spirits can day my inside, where I just chant something, like those, like I for tap into like different things, like of the identity, because like if right now, if I do super rapidity rap things where I'm like, okay, I'm competing with Yankee rappers and UK rappers, I'm going to be
long.
Yeah, it's long. But if I now start speaking some, if I start speaking some, some Habo Fanti or some Temaga or something like that, then it's like I've got one up on you guys. You see what I mean? And that's really what it's about. Just tapping into those subconscious resources. Really, it'd be such a really nice process, man. It really I really enjoy just the whole process.
People that try get very corny names for their albums, like try to get something where like you hear, oh yeah, talk. Or if you know be so too, as Ghanaian artists, you see an album title which you watch this one they copy from another album title where they we just repackage them some way. So since we talk about that, how you come about the Bonzie for an album title?
So I mean, it's very close to, like, for lack of a better phrase, like reclaiming my identity. You see what I mean? A lot of people don't know this, but when I was a kid, my whole name was completely different, and then my dad just had this new vim and then renamed me as I chop like 6 already, like, okay, your name be Mensa
Hey.
because you're a son, but your official name, it changed my passport name, everything to Bonzie Osuko Senya Sankara Ansah. So me, my name, no, it be pressure. Wait, then the Bonzie be from Silphy Bonzie. I don't know if you know AC Bonds, but then he get record label back in the day where he put out all like most of the 70s funk, like so high life records for Ghana, like between the 70s, well, late 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. Then he'd be the main producer. I mean, think of whoever you could think of, Ebo Taylor, all of them. So he named me, I got my father in cousin. So he named me after, with the Bonzi, they mean Bowenze, which means like throw your voice, you know, let your voice, like hit your voice, let your voice be heard, you know. It's like, and you pay in a casa, Bowenze, if you're speaking to an adult, speak up so they can hear you, you know. So like through the years, you know, I just did think, okay, I think it's about time I kind of really manifested my name, you know, and just be that person, because it always
makes a lot of sense.
like, I see more people, they call me Bonzie also because of my official name and like my bank details, and like if I did fly, then hello Mr. Bonzie and things. I was like, hey, me power be Mr. Bonzie like that, you know. So
doesn't mean like who?
My father is a traditionalist, so it's like he has a whole thing be about the etymology of names, like the meaning of your name has a purpose. You are not giving your name by accident. You know, you have to, you know, either overcome whatever your name they give you or become what your name is, you know. And so if I think about everything we man do from number 1 Mango Street to the FOKN Bois things, it's just about really speaking my mind and really expressing, finding ways to express better and better and better and better. Bonzie was the arrival, you know, like, okay, this is who I'm going to be, and then we'll see what happens beyond that. So, you know, that's really what it is, man. It's just like looking into my life and trying to manifest. Hey, try. He did. He tried.
I feel like your puppy try, because I mean, I had the same issue, like as I'm born, then you know that's where right now Christianity take over. So they want Christian the baby, they want some pastor go do something. That's like, nah, Charlie, like traditionally what I not be say, there's a reason why we name our kids and how we name our kids.
Yeah.
Number 1 is for identity. So
yeah.
I mean, even though I born the kiddie outside Ghana, he be Ghanaian.
Yeah.
So it for identify as a Ghanaian. And the way we identify with our children, at least for Ghans, I go talk how they do them. Before they started do the whole get some pastor make you can't do it, you know. Then they go find somebody of good character. You know, be name, they go take give the kiddie. The Ghans get sequential naming, but then go make you can't do some things. Like then go make you put in foot for the baby in top, then talk say make you take in footsteps. They go start tell them things like we know they steal, we know they lie, then kind of things. And back in the day, the kiddies go up and they pick the exact character that they used, like they talk for the kiddie in top as they name them.
Yeah.
You see that too. Yeah. Then absolutely. All of a sudden we start bringing pastors we don't know just because then come preach to you about Jesus.
Yeah.
You know the things they do for house. You know, then kind of things. Then he go come put in energy for the kiddie in top. Then the kiddie go they do something, you know they bap.
No, they understand.
You as I feel like your puppy, whatever energy move make it give you the name, it being the manifest right now.
Yeah.
Your puppy be see.
You try. India be very complex human being, my old man. Very complex.
So carry you go to into music, right? And they have their relations depending on where they are. Right? People say branding comes from what you want, like as a person, like what you want the people to see and what the people see from what you're trying to give them. Like that combination makes the actual brand. So in this case, like carry you go, I don't know what people they hear from me, I know what me they hear, but as an artist, what were you saying? Because me, I feel like I heard
I heard like a whole lot of things, and that ending bits, that be the main thing for me. What's me I hear for inside. You get it? So like now that I have you on here, I would rather want you to tell.
Sometimes the art just uses you as a vessel. Like if I told you that I knew exactly what I was going for when we made Carry You Go, I would be a liar. I just knew that the way I wrote that verse was like, okay, it's really late in the night. I finally find the drum pattern for the beat. And then as soon as I did that, I started typing lyrics, you know? And I did both verses and I wrote both verses. And the funny thing is that I knew that it was going to be the first track on the album. But the crazy thing is that the lyrics of the song was always telling me to watch out for people who are not going to stand behind you because they don't understand what you're doing. Really, that's really what Carry You Go is about. So if you listen, it's like, let me take you somewhere else. I know you're used to this thing, but make a carry you go some new place, you know? And then the first verse is like, for some time, then rap started bore me. You see what I mean? It's like, then I started to lose where than I did because nothing new they happen around me, you know? They do nothing for me. Then they say, Mensa,
yeah, I kind of noticed that.
You know, it's like,
yeah, I kind of noticed that at some point because I had to follow you. Yeah, I was like, what's going on with this man?
You know, and it's like, yeah, and it's like people constantly want you to, even when you're in love with somebody, you're in a relationship, it's like people, we in our nature, I think we always want people to remain as the idea we've created of them. Like say, if they see you in some way, I don't want you to stay that way. You know, so I'm like, please just undo everything you think you know about me and allow me to take you on this journey. Let me show you something else. You know, it will shock you every time I post some of my new music. 9 out of 10 times, 3 people will come and say, Mensa, please, Charlie, what about the tea bread track? What about the
I know, right?
And it's like, geez, can you fuck off already, please? I beg you. You know, we are doing things, you know, and it was like, oh, Charlie, FOKN BOIS, this. It's like, you're not paying attention. You know, the FOKN BOIS is one of the most important things creatively that's happened to the entire continent.
Yeah.
You know, but because you see me in a certain light, you don't want to allow yourself to actually understand where we go with them. You know, so Carry You Go was like, okay, this is the departure from what you guys. Come on, just give me a break here. Let's go somewhere and let me take you somewhere else. You know, and it's like, you know, in the end, it's like, don't ask a lot of questions, but we still need answers.
Yeah.
You know? Promoting Sensi totally gets us. You know, we still need dancers. Yeah. It's like you say you don't understand me, but you try and make her change who I am. Like, make her a bit jiggy, small, you know, and then they make her start to question myself, even though I'm taking chances. So that was like, that song was really like a statement at the beginning, like, okay, now we're about to start something completely different. Brace yourself. Let's go. And that's really what it is. You know, it's like that grand stuff.
That's like the whole Shaolin thing where they tell you to empty your cup.
Exactly.
Like because you know that message, like what you feel say you see be what you do, like, you know, like that. Exactly. Like no, forget everything. Forget everything. Muku starts at first. If you feel the cup, yeah. I got that. Like me, because I get the album. I the listen because most times I did drive, so I listen on the road.
Right.
We like, okay, so that's exactly how I got it. Like, okay, so now empty let's go. Let's see what's happening. You know, like.
Oh, Vin.
Yeah, I think you got that on point. You got that on point. I was wondering if you were going to say something different, so I was like maybe Charlie, because like I said earlier, there's also the way we receive things because of where we did. You get it? So then I wanted to know, because sometimes Charlie, that you may see or hear a certain way, but that's not what the artist was trying to say at all.
Yeah, but I mean that's fine too. You know, it's like I'm actually even more interested in
what people heard or how people understood it.
Because I'm just one person, and you know, it's like that's really what art is supposed to be about. Like, sometimes when people break down my own lyrics to me, I'm like, yeah, I'm that clever. No, I'm not actually. You know, it's like, thank you for giving it so much weight and, you know, context. But sometimes if I say, you know, something is probably just as basic as that, you know.
Yeah, Charlie. Because like that part where you were talking about at some point, then rap started bore you and things like that's actually what got me. Because then as I did follow you, I kind of noticed that. Like even in your posts and things, I'm like, all right, this feels more authentic. Like I feel like I can connect to this album because I can sense something real here. You Bob, like you don't come canto, we say, oh, I've always loved rap and rappers. You were being real, like expressing feelings here and there, and like, all right, cool. That's something we want to hear. You know, that's something we want to hear. But I feel like artists, I wouldn't say artists of today in general, but I feel like most artists are now looking at what do you think will be a hit instead of actually giving themselves to you. And for some people,
due to no fault of theirs, you know, the industry also they push artists into the corner, you know. It's like because it's
just like what you said, like you were trying to, you know, open up to them. They were like, well, this is not the usual, you know, it's the same thing. So if I was an artist and I came and I needed funding, I'll probably try and give you what you want in order for you to give me that funding. So I get where they're coming from. But yeah, that's also another conversation altogether. The separation of you as an artist and the art is one complicated path. Like I think about it sometimes like, do I give you me or do I give you what I think you want because I know the art? You know, like it's a very confusing stage to be, you know? Where I think you must be very bold to decide that I'm going to give you me. Like, shut up and listen. That's what you basically did in the first track. Shut up and listen.
It'll be small thing, it'll be small thing to be like to show a certain level of vulnerability and transparency, you know, and bring a part of yourself to the music that's, you know, it's like really exposes you and makes you vulnerable. It takes practice. Some people get it, you know, and some people might never be able to be that way authentic, you know, and just like present themselves. It'll be small thing. It'll be small task, you know.
I feel like that's one thing that artists should learn. Like I feel like you have to know that like a designer will sell anytime. Like you have a brand name, you know it for its authenticity. You get that anytime, anywhere, regardless of what era it is. But if you go for trends, if you pass, you pass. Then what you go do? You buy. I remember the time Drake started doing tunes and say, oh, this guy, oh, he's a bitch nigga, he's singing for hoes, and a whole lot of things, because he was talking about, you know, certain things that they felt like, oh, Charlie, hip hop artists, yeah, oh, hardcore, then in
so many feelings. What, Charlie?
Exactly, but he's still relevant today because of that.
Yeah.
You get it?
Without feelings.
And I feel like that's what artists don't recognize. Because these days, Charlie, tracks come on, they pass. The next track come and they over you, you know, like, because what you had was not, you know, there was nothing to hold on to. There's no actual vibration or frequency, you know, to hold a human being, like, in this life that we are, in what you did. So I feel like that's one thing artists should try and do, like, in general, instead of yippee sky, yippee hits, you know, like, the right people are there. You just have to push you out so that the right people will find you.
I mean, you know.
Yeah. So let's talk about FOKN.
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay.
Good.
No, the second track, FOKN.
Yeah. Oh man, FOKN. FOKN is such a complicated track, eh? It's like,
I know, right?
Yeah. So it was, I mean, FOKN is like me telling myself what I would like somebody who I looked up to tell me. Does that make sense? Like if I was somebody who's going to encourage me or give me vim or, you know, motivate me, this is what I would want them to hear. And, you know, some of my biggest, like my brothers, my older brothers are some of my biggest influences, and like the people I did look up to the most. Actually, my family members, all my siblings, you know. And so, like when it starts as a brother, I know, say you travel so far and you cross many borders. Sometimes they look impossible, but all is in order. So it's almost like my brother, you know, like it's like my brother saying that to me or me saying that to my brother, but whatever it is, it's a conversation that I want to have. You see what I mean? And then we go through, you know, promise we go look after each other, and I promise one another, you know. And then in the end, they say, you know, today we go do yoga. You know, it's like, let's start building from, you know, from ground up, you know, let's stretch and, you know, let's get to work, you know. And then it's like, you know, as the verse they start, some people did this word inside. When would you go, where we decide? Say we just go do one our team. Nothing go frequent on our veins, so energy go they run through on our veins.
In writing, like in film, they have this thing, like écriture automatique. Like you just put the pen on the paper and let it flow.
Right.
You know, and usually brings out what's in you that you want to hear. Like it just brings it out.
Yeah.
Like you didn't even know, but that's what's there. I felt like that's how I felt about the song. Like talking to yourself, like, you know.
Yeah. But also it was just like, it was like my affirmations, you know. It was like, you know, it's like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. This let's go. This is what I'm gonna do. And anybody around me, this is what we're going to do. We're gonna keep moving. We're going to understand where we have come from and where we're going, but we're not letting up. We're not giving up. We're you know, we go move small. If it be small things, small steps, we they move, and that's really what forward is about. And so it's like, it's just like, it's really an affirmation and an acknowledgement of how far we've come. You know, like bearing in mind, say, being like having a good perspective. Because, you know, sometimes like you are so focused on making it that you don't realize that you've come a long way. And that's actually, that journey where you make, you know, is the making it. As for me, as I did here right now, I get plenty of frustrations as an artist and as a musician.
Oh yeah,
but I'm not saying there's a good few musicians out there who wish they could be in my shoes. You know?
Oh yeah.
Usually I'm saying in terms of like just being in a good space to create, you know, being able to tour, having good bandmates, and just the catalog of work and so on and so forth, you know. So it's like being present and understanding that, being appreciative of that, and then looking for the next thing, you know. I think really that's really what forward is about.
It's more like, Charlie, give me some boozer kind of thing, you know, like that we had at FOKN BOIS at the listen up. Yeah. That's the point.
Exactly.
This one be my this one there, yeah. Take my losses. That one, yeah. Because that one myself, I feel relate to some large level, like
yeah.
Let's talk about that one.
That song nearly didn't make it, you know, on the project. You know, I remember when I first played it. Yeah, it'd be crazy. I remember when I played them to Andrash. No, actually, no, that's a different one. It was Take My Losses. But it's one of those songs that really wrote itself. I was in a very I think I wrote it while I was driving back from some place, like I did on the motorway, where I just listened to the beats. I was like, okay. But then I think something was brewing at the back of my mind, and I was, you know, just going through this kind of like assessing some certain relationships I have, you know, some of them like toxic also, and my toxic relationship with myself, you know, and that's the biggest part, like my toxic relationship with myself, you know, when I don't give myself a break, I don't speak to myself in my head kindly. Like I know they encourage myself, I constantly knock myself, like, oh, you're not doing this well enough, or this and you should have done this and this, and it's like constantly stressing. Like I tell you, like as a musician, there's always things where you try decipher in your brain. And so the first verse was really about me really accepting, say, these things have happened, they have happened, it's cool, give yourself a break, and then
let it go,
continue moving, you know. take whatever bad luck or whatever happened to you or bad experiences, take that one as, you know, your buffer, you know, to prepare you for what's coming next, you know. And then the second verse was about toxic relationships with people, you know, whether it's in a relationship or if it be friendships or business or, you know, with your family members, your parents, all those kinds of things, you know what I mean? And that's really what it is. But I would much rather hear how that song they come at you.
Anytime I'm out of Ghana, things that I'm connected to in Ghana, I feel like I don't have it anymore. Like even lyrical wars, for example. Like I feel like, you know, like we were dropping battles every now and then. Then I move. I feel like what's the battle culture in Ghana like right now? You know, like.
Right.
But I love it so much because it brings out certain pen skills in people.
Right.
And I feel like it's not happening now. What's happening to it? And I'm so connected to it. I would rather like, you know, move and come and let it happen. But then if you think about it, I have a family, I have insurances to pay, I have things to take care of. So, you know, like, you know, that part, like, I think I may have lost the hold we had on Rap Battle.
Right.
You know, right. So should I drown in sorrow for that, or you know what? Let's keep moving forward. I mean, let's figure out whether we can even make it bigger at some point, or even if it doesn't work anymore, take it that you know what? The universe, they give you opportunity to do certain things for a certain period of time for a certain reason.
Yeah.
So take them like that, then keep moving. You know, maybe you are done with that area. Maybe the next thing you should focus on is how to invest in people's pen skills behind the scenes than in front of the scene. You know, like yeah. So that's how I felt. That's how I felt. Like there are times where I'll go do my pongpo chale, then come. I get bread, but I'm not happy. You know, like I'm you know, like this is not it. I wish I was doing that, but I lose God. That's how you feel sometimes. Like you lose God, create a situation where you know they allow you to do those things. However, if you think about it, that situation where you create to it would give you because they move you forward.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how I felt about that track. I feel like I just you know what, think I'm like that.
Yeah, it's about, you know, it's just being able to reconcile with yourself. You know, I think that's really what it is, and just reconciliation with self. It really is about that, and just being able to even sometimes apologize to yourself. You know, like, damn, I've been an asshole.
Yeah, tell yourself sorry
to myself. Yeah, you know, and it's all good, you know. And just always look for, you know, just a way to be able to accept and live with yourself and go. Yeah.
All right, let's move to Bisa.
Hey.
And then you had one love on this one. Like that one, I feel like that's the be Ghanaian cancer way. Yeah. What the song was about to the day. I don't even see it changing anytime soon. It be some human nature way, be some way. I don't know.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Like what influenced them?
So Bisa actually is an acronym. That's why it's written in capitals, BISA.
I noticed that. BISA, yeah.
Yeah, which so for those who don't speak Akan or Chi or Fancy, Bisa means to ask.
Ask.
You know. And yes, and so the song is saying Nima Bisama Obin Kancho, like if you don't know, ask so somebody can tell you. Like always be somebody who's looking for knowledge or information, because that's the age we are in, age of information. You know, we can't be stuck in certain outdated concepts and mindsets, or you know, cultures and traditions and all that. I think us Africans we try to convince ourselves because that's this is our culture. but it's like culture is constantly evolving. Traditions are constantly evolving.
Evolving. It's the way of life of a people.
Yeah, exactly. With with your demographic and so on and so forth. But BISA in English, what I was trying to do is the BISA stands for Bold Infancy, Secured Adulthood. So if you are raised in like feeling confident about yourself and bold and knowing that you have a support system around you and there are people who love you and you're not afraid to ask questions, afraid to seek knowledge, afraid to question things, you are going to grow up to become like a secured adult, who a stable or even like a stable adult, you know what I mean? And then so now let's talk about what's raising children for what I know in Ghana is like, where it's just like there's always it's like in the verse I say conflicting colonial rule with discipline. It's like some of our ideas of what discipline is tainted or is outdated, because we've kind of passed on. We feel like because we have suffered, our offsprings must also suffer. Because we have struggled, the young people must also struggle to understand where you are. But if you have struggled and you feel like somebody must struggle also, then you haven't learned the lesson. Then you are what you are is traumatized. You see what I mean? So the song really is about allowing young people not to experience the unnecessary hardships that we went through, so that they can thrive and do better than us. To create opportunities for young people in terms of opening up to them and allowing them to really prevail and breathe. And, but it's like some fathers like, hey, you are not my co-equal, you're not my friend, you're my child. What I tell you is what you do. Don't question my authority, don't do this.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
And also like the way they teach when a colonial history, sometimes it gets to a point where it's like, for me, like when I was in school, one of my teachers used to teach and speak about Sir John Maclean with pride, like and the British won the war against the natives, and they showed them who the true power is, and I was like, "Adewe Jimiana," and I was just thinking like, what the hell is going on here, And so it's just really just trying to break away from broken traditions and broken routines and things like that. And this is something that Wanlov and I have constantly talked about. We constantly have conversations about, because we're both parents, for one, and secondly, because growing up, we were raised outside of our homes not to question the status quo, not to try and understand things before we followed instructions. It's like in boarding school, it's like obey before. So by the time I'd written the chorus and I think the first verse, I already knew that this is something that Wanlov and I would work perfectly on as an extension of our conversations. And so by the time I sent in the verse, we had already designed like his parts of the music. I like to call music like more so than production, like more like a design. And I said to him, dude, when the music will stop, and then this part is where I want you to really just vomit everything where they stress you out on this verse. And as the young people say, he understood the assignment and went beyond. That verse is such an incredible, such an incredible verse. Like, I was like, yeah, he's the only person who can kind of solidify or finish the whole story like this. And the production on that shit is like, this is one of my favorites, actually, and I'm looking forward to performing.
Yeah, I feel like he touched on like how the whole thing come about, like the whole chew and pour thing he mentioned for M3nsa, because it's the reason why we are the way we are. Like, instead of you understanding the reason why answer is this, the solution to this question is this, no. You just want chewam is this. You don't understand why it's that. You just want chewam. And for that reason, as a parent, you grew up knowing, say, oh, as a parent, you beat your kid when they do this, you do this, you do this, you do that, and then you do the same thing, instead of understanding why that may have been done and understanding that maybe the situation you are facing now is different.
Absolutely.
So you don't apply that same thing. So I think it comes back to that. I think that's woven into our DNA, unfortunately, somehow.
As
Ghanaians,
there's no
just saying that. you know, and it's a problem. See next to say ADTOC.
Yeah, room beside the internet aside. Just relationships between young people and adults is something that I feel like we really need to look into. Like, we are more into like instructing our young people as to, this is what's good for you, go and do it. This is the information we are giving you, this is what you need. And there's no real relationship, like a transitional relationship, as in, this is what we used to do, this is how, where it has brought us. And how do you feel like you yourself as a thinking, we're not being taught really, and I hate to sound cliche, but we're not really taught to think, to question, to think about information and how to apply that information. Like you talk, so it's like true and poor. If you have a good retentive memory in school in Ghana, you are a good student. I didn't have a good retentive memory, but what I was somebody who enjoyed understanding things. And once I understood something, I could go places with it. I could go further and further with it. But like me, as I learned my 7 times, I reached my times table. As I reached 7 times 12. As I reached there, I say I've achieved all that I can achieve in mathematics in my life. I'm finished. Because I just didn't know even what I was multiplying. I just knew that 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 4 8. I just be going on up to 7. I don't know my 8 times. But now if you ask me, you know, I had to go back and unlearn all those things, you know, and it's like, you know, they'll tell you what's a monocotyledon, dicotyledon. They just did like, they never bring up plants into a class like, this is the part, the petal, this is what happens, this is what goes on, and you know, or osmosis, and those things are easy to teach, but also it's like, you can't blame our teachers because resources and being invested, and I'm about to say something very controversial, and I hope I'm not talking too much. We don't have resources. We are not, our government, it's easier for them not to invest in correctly educating us. It's easier for them because we know that if human beings are not working for us, or the science of humans is not working, we go to God, and we can, so let's say Ghanaians are holding God accountable for our well-being, for our wealth, for our health, for the safety of our children, safety of our women, is God. So the government is free. It's like, hey, they say Nyame betre. So that's really what, and it allows them to go ahead and chop their money and do whatever they want to do, because Ghanaian people are not tuned into holding human beings accountable for our actions. You see what I mean? That's the whole thing. That's why Christianity is so big in poor countries, because it helps whoever the leadership or whatever the leadership is to go scot-free, because the people are not really looking at them saying, look, we believe in science. We believe that if we have good sanitation, clean water, electricity, health and medicine and whatnot for ourselves and our children, we are going to thrive. So then you need to fix Kolebu or else we'll fuck shit up. You need to fix KNUST, you need to fix all the primary schools. But no, Ghanaians are more interested. We're going to church because we've been failed so much by human beings that we're asking God. And so it's like a vicious cycle. You see what I mean? It's just a vicious cycle. And it's like, nobody is going to say, let them stop the noise at church. Let them close down all these useless churches. Instead, we are going to build a cathedral so that more Ghanaians will enter the church and then leave the accountability to Jesus and to deities like borrowed deities and all these kind of things. You know what I mean? So if that in itself is a science, you know, what's happening is a science, you know. It starts from the education. Like if you invest in education and young people and teach them to think, they're going to start asking questions. They're going to start questioning the concept of being forced to go to church, the concept of why we so invested in religion, you know, as a people in 2021. But the religion that the Bible verse you're reading is from technology, used from a mobile phone that was created by a young kid in China somewhere. But we're not thinking, why are we not making the phones? We're just going straight to, do you see what I'm saying? It's like, we're not questioning things. We're not, everything right now is, you know, my children yesterday went to a pumpkin party. Can you imagine? at church.
Halloween.
Because they don't want to call it Halloween, because Halloween is the devil. So they're going to pumpkin party and they're still dressed in costumes. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, what is this? You know, and I don't mean to go off on a tangent, but it's about how we are educating ourselves and how much investment we're putting into
education in general.
Into education, because once we start properly educating young people, there is going to be a change, and they are not good. The people in the status quo, the leadership is not going to benefit from that. So it's better for us to just continue having children in 2021 in Ghana of West Africa, in Nkrumah's Ghana, sitting under trees. Not that sitting under trees is a bad thing, but just because if it's raining, you are sitting there and you can't even get common chalk and blackboard in 2021. But next to the so-called school is a church, fully funded, painted, nice. They plaster the place, air conditioning, they there, fans, everything they there. You know, so it's not by chance that
I be that one. Then come on, then we'll give offering and tithe every day. The children and they pay school fees once a term, right? So yeah, that one they bring money like that.
Continue to hold God accountable.
Where the conversation end on this particular track, Muku jump to God is good, because God is gold, you know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we already walking there. We already did work for there.
Yeah.
So then that track there, I feel like Charlie Ibi. I know they like talk religion, cry, because then people they see me as the devil in completion. So I did like keep my mouth shut, because like they make sense. Like you tell me there's a place where if I die I go, and the land is made of gold, right? If the land is made of gold, that means it's like sand for there.
Yeah.
So that means that gold will have no value for there.
No go be.
It will have no value. Like it's like a pick stand and they can't sell to you. But someday here, why go? You know, like it has no value. So if you are telling me that, and I think small, I just say no. What should they tell me? No, they make sense. Like it means you're trying to prey on what you think I want now, right? Because what I want now, I'm here where the land is stand, not gold. That's why I want gold, because the gold is rare. But if I go to a place where the place gold the boom, the gold no they marry.
Yeah. I mean,
why is it?
Or like bank. Yeah, bank.
You know, or I'm struggling right now in bondage, and you are telling me when I die I will be free, because now I'll wake up every morning and sing praises to somebody.
Charlie.
That's what my life. That's another bondage now. Like why will I want that? So how is that freedom to me? But you've taught me that I shouldn't question these things. Mm-hmm. But does that mean I shouldn't also question how I would feel?
Yeah.
With what you are telling me, but like I won't question you whether it's true or not. That it could be true, but do I want it? Yeah. You're trying to condition me to want it, and I've always had a problem with that. And I feel like that's the thing with religion. So I don't really like getting to religion, because it sounds like I hate it, but I don't, because it also has certain things which are good, like all the things that they tell you say make you need to. If you think about it, it's for your own good, you know, like, you know, don't steal, this is what's going to happen, blah, 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 don't kill. I mean, but I feel like if you have common sense, nobody should even tell you this, you know?
Yeah, you know, I mean, my whole take on religion, and a lot of people think like I'm anti-Christian and so on and so forth. For me, if I'm thinking as an African, I feel like, and understanding the history of the continent and our relationship with the West, the worst thing that we can hold on to as a people is a borrowed religion. That's one thing on the side. But you know, I'm also a strong believer in the importance of seeking spirituality and understanding of things beyond our conscious understanding. And the song "God is Good" is like, I mean, the original title was "God is Good," but I changed it to "God is Gold," which is like God has been turned into like an evil ghost or evil spirit, you know. And that's the play on it. And we all know where that came from, when there was that scandal with a certain pastor in Ghana, doctor pastor in Ghana, who, and when he was questioned, all he said was, "God is good, God is good, God is good." And that was his response. I don't know if you know about this, but you should do some research. I think the listeners the watchers know. So if you know, just type his name there. And he has the same name as me, which is why I started my verse with, you know, addressing myself, you know. Mensa is back as the news, whatever it is. I can't remember what my opening line was. But it was just like, so really, it was just talking about how we are promising the world to marginalize people, to people who are struggling, to people who need answers, people who need redemption, or in a sense, and we are taking advantage of them and taking their money, their resources, and then when they ask you, Charlie, the thing we promised me, you know, what happened? I'll say, please don't question me, because God is good. God is good. God is good. God is good. You know, don't ask me what the fuck I'm gonna do. God is good. God is good. You know, why do you question me? Who are you? God is good. Do as I say, not as I do. God is good. So, and that is really like what is happening for the most part in, you know, in this our sweet country of Ghana, you know. And so really, I was just telling a story about the incidents that happened, but also generalizing it with the relationship with the church and the citizen, the people, and the churchgoers, all, you know, and what's happening. And it's not really me just trying to discredit or to take away from religion or Christianity or whatever. For those who it works for, it really works for. Like my mom finds a lot of community in the church and finds her purpose, you know, and like doing real things and like, you know, helping, going to, you know, the homes and, you know, writing things and speaking to young people and encouraging them, and, you know, the sermons and whatnot, and, you know, the music and the socializing. For me, it's like church, dude, man. Church is,
I mean, church helped you with instruments. So
absolutely. No, but that's the thing. Church is a rave. Is the perfection of raving, of it's a perfect party. But I mean, let me show you something. Imagine, say, all week they work, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, say sometimes they work. Sunday is when you see this concept, is when you get to wear your best clothes. Is when you get to see your best friends. You get to see what everybody else is wearing, so you can gossip. Where you can get to sing a rave, you get to dance, you hear live music, you know, and just free yourself. And the most important part is there's somebody on the pulpit who is telling you that everything is going to be okay, which is just preparing you for the next week. So you just go collide your vim and socialize and meet. And have you seen how people behave in church, especially women that understand, you know, the concept of like community and socializing? They do better than we just did suck booze. That's why church, you know, has more women than men in Africa anyway, because there's no entertainment. The husbands are not paying attention to them. They come home, they're tired, they're probably drinking or watching some television, whatever, you know, they don't get to socialize with their friends or whatnot. So Sunday is like really where the real socialization happens. It's a mixture of movie nights to rock concert nights, to go see your favorite artist, to go see your favorite singer, everything coupled in one. So church actually is important, but the thing is that we need to tell ourselves that we are kidding ourselves. It's not really about any kind of spirituality thing or whatever, like, you know, and some borrowed thing, but it's really an opportunity for us to socialize and be close to the people that we love. And if we accept that, that's also a good thing, you know. But to kind of give one our entire existence and one our potential and one our future to some random European concept, it's a hard pill for me to swallow.
You know, like most of the tracks they feel very personal, but somehow when it comes to Muku Sunday, even though I like the track, I feel like, well, you probably know, date any adolescent girl like that. You might like,
you don't know. Don't know.
Well, that be the thing. So that's why I won't come to that one. So if I can relate all the tracks to you on a certain level and something you want to say, then Muku come to Muku Sunday, then make I get time clearer. Because that part I not the force. Like I'm not a romantic, so that part I not the force. So I throw the ball for your court for that side.
Yeah. I mean,
but I must say, the track there, personally, the album top, that track catch me rough.
Oh, word. Oh,
I don't know. Is it probably the fact that I didn't even imagine you singing in Ghana?
That's the thing for me. That was like the
So, like,
challenge for me, you know, because if you listen, pardon me, if you listen, like all my previous albums, I always have like a fanti, like ode or like, you know, like offering to kind of speak my mother's tongue. But that really Mukusani was just storytelling. I really just wanted to tell a story, like create a story, but with real characters, you know, and then go into how much I'm influenced by Ghana culture and the Ghana language, and how much actually it's possible that I'm more Ghana in my ways than Fanti. Because, man, I was raised in Accra, Charlie, you know, and all my friends.
I mean, personally, I feel like Gans and Fantis are they're all coastal people.
The same people on different sides.
The culture.
The same people on different
said the culture, Charlie.
Yeah. It's the same. It's the same. And my mom, I say this to my mom all the time. You know, my mom's quite old school. She's like, oh, yeah, no, you can't say that. It's like, you fancy people, you think that because you have contact with Europeans, you are any different. You are just the same. Just the same. You know, but you know, that kind of colonial thing is like, you know, but it's, you know, that's a whole different thing. But okay, for me, so Mukusani was like, let me put myself to task, and I really did research. I mean, those who know me, like I was, you know, I'd write lyrics and I'd send it to somebody like, is this cool? I mean, you know, I speak Ghana, but to write it this way, am I going off? Is this, you know, does this sound correct as spoken Ghana, or is this something I can sing? You know what I mean? And then I tried to tell a story, and the Adole is definitely somebody who is or was in my life as a teenager. Adute is one of my childhood friends. Tele definitely is somebody that I knew when I was working as a young person around North Carnation, which is like, you know, and so all these characters are people in my life, and slightly true, and you know, bashing, like there was a time when, you know, we stole my friend's father's car and we went to bash into a wall, and one of us had to take the rap for it because, you know, and all these kind of things. But once I did that, I was like, okay, let me see if the person who is doing the craziest Ghana music and writing the most interesting Ghana lyrics for me right now would bless me on that song, because I'm a big fan, you know. And I reached out to Gasmilla, and that guy.
Oh yeah, you kill him. You kill him.
And he went through all the phases of the Gasmilla that I know, and showed us his versatility. And Manifest and I were talking about the other day. He was like, wow, I mean, Gasmilla is somebody who's so versatile, and you know, it's like he's slept on in that sense, but you know. And I was like, yeah. I mean, I knew he was gonna come through, and that verse that he did, you know, it was like I had to listen to it. Just sonically, it sounded great, but I had to listen to it over and over and over again to really understand the nuances of what he was saying, and just how really like advanced he is as a writer in Ghana, you know. And now, so it was like my own personal Gasmilla track, you know, where I could enjoy, you know, before anybody else could. And you know, and the song went through a lot of the production also went through a lot of changes, because before the way I produced it was supposed to be like a G-funk, like a West Coast kind of thing, you know. And then later on, I was like, okay, let me try some dark trappish kind of thing, and then switch the sound. So if you hear it, there's an older version which I might later on next year or something, I might throw on, you know, onto the internet and see what happens. But yeah, it went through a whole transition. Yeah. Shout outs to Gasmilla, man. I mean, the guy he's really close to my heart, man. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy.
Shout outs to Hunukane for making this happen live. Shout outs to my boss. I'm not gonna mention his name because then the girls go start to chase him.
Absolutely.
I won't keep on for you. It's been nice having you, man. So like, make we do more talk offline, and then figure out the way forward with what I just said, and see if we can give that to the people.
Yeah.
All right.
I mind it, Charlie.
In fact, I said, God, I should bow to you, but then the way things go make us salute you instead.
Oh, Charlie, thank you for having me, man. Stylesfree. I mean, yo, thank you to Hunukane as well. I love your name. I love what you guys are doing.